Namaste. Good morning, beautiful souls. Welcome back to my Advent calendar. This is day 11, and a very fine morning to each of you. Today, I want to talk about gratitude. And it's funny, I just sort of wrote that down yesterday. I have been very busy at my tarot table sorting and cleaning and did a lot of talking yesterday, recording videos going through my entire tarot library, and I have completed recording for the mass market cards, and so now the editing, the editing will continue with that. And it just feels really, really good to have a very clear table this morning, and I feel really grateful for that. And I thought that this was a wonderful time to sort of turn midway through this Advent calendar to gratitude. I have loosely addressed it, but I think in light of the energy that I have been sharing with about the space of the heart, one of the greatest medicines for the heart space. Whether your heart is feeling tight, your heart is full and overflowing, whether your heart is feeling a little empty or sad, it is a wonderful medicine for the space of the heart. And so no matter what the energy is at your center place at this time, know that you can dive into some variation of a gratitude practice with the tarot. And I'm just going to share everything gratitude today with you. Good morning to Mary Beth and Sarah. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up. On the table today, I have some very beautiful decks, and I am so grateful for the full circle of connections that I have in the tarot world. If it wasn't for viewers like you, subscribers, students, members, I wouldn't hear about all the things that I hear about. I wouldn't receive, feed to various things. And I just feel so grateful, first of all, for all of you. This mystical, magical place of TarotTube really is a wonderful community, and I'm so glad to be connected to it. There is something about the actual tarot cards that in each of these decks, I want to just sort of describe in their own way, what is it about these cards and why am I talking about beauty and gratitude? One could say this is interconnected, if you will. Beauty, the heart space, that idea of balance. I was going to use the word perfect, but there's just sort of a glimpse of something greater in the heart space. If you have looked at the position in the center of the tree of life and where it is located, sort of just down from Keter, down from the crown, we here can begin to get a feeling of what it must be like to be in the energy of God, be in the energy of the divine. And beauty is a really important keyword for this space, for the number 6. And I share these decks with you all in that energy. This is the Talisman Tarot. And unfortunately, there is way too much border on this deck. But there's something about these lush oil paintings in this contemporary tarot of Marseille that feels I I I can't quite. I want to blow them up for you and just really. It's like I can. They're multidimensional. They're textured. I can feel them. There is a passion that comes off of them. The cups are red, which is really unusual in the tarot. And I don't know, there's also a primal energy to this particular deck. It feels like it could be connected to wall paintings, ancient cave paintings in a way. And look at the light that comes through in this judgment card. There's not another blue quite like it in the deck. The moon card is beautiful. It's the cover card for this deck. And I share this deck with you, one, because I would never have heard about it if it wasn't for you. And this particular, and all of these decks that I'm sharing with you today, the four of them, are all versions in some way of the Tarot de Marseille. This one is also a contemporary deck that does not claim to be a Tarot de Marseille. This is the second edition of the Tarot de Ozar, the tarot by Laurie LePage. And this deck, it just makes me happy. And there is something about what Laurie LePage did with this particular deck, this Easter basket of color exploding on the table when I read with this deck, that just fills my heart. And I share these emotions with you because if you have a particular deck that you pick up and it just sort of fills you, you respond in a way that just, I don't know, I think fills you is a great way to describe it. There's a warmth that comes off it, and it feels perhaps in your hands that it's just what you need in this moment. And I've had these decks for a long time. The Tarot of the Ozark was probably one that was recommended by one of you. And look at these beautiful flowers on the coins. And then there's paper. I feel so grateful. I have several completely uncoated decks in my card library. And this is one of them. And I just feel in numerous ways so much lusciousness with this. And there are other reasons why I like to work with these decks, but the tactile experience and the appreciation for paper and art, and once again, how all of this has come to me as a tarot reader, I find is really quite incredible. The blue paint on these cards is also really something. And this is not a Tarot de Marseille. It is a deck that blends together traditions of a lot of older decks. And I say it's not a Tarot de Marseille. Neither in the majors nor the minors does it follow any patterns. But it's a beautiful art deck. I'm sure most of you know this or have this. It's called La Corte dei Tarocchi. And then I think the deck that I thought I had pulled out a different one, but this most definitely will do. There is a publisher called Il Menengello, and who publishes the most beautiful, beautiful decks. And I'm going to show you the box for this one. This is the Vachetta Tarot, and these come out of Italy, and they're produced in a smaller quantity, and they're quite expensive to get to North America. I probably have about 3 of them. I feel very grateful to have these. And they are, some of them are recolored. They're all reproductions of older decks that they make, and they are just again, pieces of art in your hand. They are all really of unusual sizes. Many of their decks have square corners, as was true with the previous one I showed you. And I just want to kind of go through here. And this is a really interesting tarot deck. I Naibi de Vacetto. What's the full name? I'm sure the I is pronounced I Naibi di Giovanni Vacetta. This deck also was published mass market and was called Tarot of the Master. I have a couple different versions of this deck. And I just love to look at, if I'm not focusing on the message that I'm reading, the painting and the glorious just nature of these cards. And again, this is not in a Tarot de Marseille style. There's actually a human on a minor card, which is really unusual. And look here, in the Amour card, there is only Cupid and a bird. So I want to go back and talk about something really quite simple, and that is picking up your cards in the energy of a gratitude practice, and how to make this a part of your day. And this is certainly something that you could do in the mornings. You could do it before. It would be a wonderful thing to do before bedtime when you had more time. You could also sit down and do this as a mini practice before a reading. And that is just to pick up a deck. And I suggest that you work with one deck for a period of time. And maybe you want to work with one deck through this season. And in this way, doing a gratitude practice daily, you get to know the details of the deck that you are working with in a new way, and you develop a new relationship with a deck. And I have done and recorded 30-day gratitude practices a few times around this time of year. I think it's a wonderful time of year to do it. And I've never done it with a historical deck. I believe the last time I did it with the Muriel Tarot. And what I have done in this sort of energy is all I've done is shuffled a deck. And I've never gone through and picked out some art decks or historical decks or decks with paper that I love. And I think this adds another layer to it. And I know you could do this with some indie RWS inspired decks. I have some beautiful ones in that realm as well. Focus on your heart space. Take some deep breaths in your heart. Maybe repeat the word gratitude. Just contemplate the energy of the heart. And all you are going to do is simply shuffle and choose a card and have a really good look at the card. And I'm going to do this on the fly right now and asking myself, what do these cards have to teach me about gratitude? What is my message for today about gratitude? And when I do this kind of a practice, usually I just do it with one card. And if I don't have if I do it in the morning and I don't have time to write about it, then God is great. You know, one of my all-time favorite movies is Out of Africa. Book's not a bad book either. And when Karen Blixen arrives in Africa, oh my goodness, I don't know. And maybe it is right at the beginning of the movie, and she meets one of the slaves, the servants, who's going to look after her. It's a wonderful character in the movie, and I'm so surprised I can't even say their name right now. She talks about the china on the train that she has brought from Denmark, and she is so concerned about the china. And she looks at him and she says, "China, do you know China?" And he goes, "Yes, Zabu, China, it can break." And maybe that was not the particular place. Anyway, somewhere in that movie, he turns to her and he says, "Sabu, God is great." And that line, I don't know what it is about that line, often comes to me and it makes me smile. And I don't know why I'm even sharing this with you, but I am looking at this particular card, and when I saw this, so the first thing that came to mind was, oh my goodness, I've drawn. I thought my mic was muted, but it's not. I'd drawn a 6 of Cups. I was looking at an extra line, but it's not. It's a 5 here, and I want to speak to this in a second. But I was thinking, oh wow, we've got a 6 shining down, and 6 is the number of the heart space, the place of gratitude. But no, that is not the energy here, and that's why I was rambling on about that. So this practice can take you in all kinds of places. And I feel very, very happy to look at this card. There was a time when I collected teapots. I have always loved china, and maybe in some weird roundabout way, that story about China. Do you know China? Yes, Sabu, it can break. And then I'm looking at this and thinking, wow, I have always loved China. China, fine, collectible porcelain, rough, hand-made pottery. I have traveled the world, gone to many kilns, walked many, many miles into remote locations to experience being at kilns. I have packed and carried cups and teapots from places all over the world and have some just really beautiful cups and teapots. I really appreciate tea in general. I appreciate my daughter Samantha, who taught me about foraging and drying herbs and making teas. I appreciate, and my heart feels so full of gratitude for the mother that I grew up with, who taught me to sit down and enjoy a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. This also reminds me of my great uncle Frank, who had this most beautiful, I don't know even what a samovar is. I don't know why that word's coming to mind, but this most exquisite coffee service. He was also someone who taught me about an appreciation for the process of enjoying a cup of tea. There are some English people in my history as well, too. And this card just kind of really fills my heart about the experience of drinking tea, and takes me to my years in Japan, where I learned to sit. And when you're in tea ceremony in Japan, one of the first things you would do is admire the cup, and you turn the cup in a certain way. And it is about the porcelain itself, and it might be a heavy, rough cup. It could be something quite, thin and fine as well. And so you admire the cup, and you slowly sip and savor the tea. And it's about the process of being in a very slow experience. And so I want to say my whole life, I feel really fortunate to have had these experiences of enjoying every aspect of a cup of tea and a cup of coffee. This includes squatting in a busy, busy train station in India, enjoying a early morning cup of chai, laughing, being with friends, and being in a particular moment. It includes enjoying a cup of chai at a remote tea stand in India and throwing the teacup into a pile once I was finished with my tea. So at this particular stand, the rough-hewn teacups, I suppose, were made by the family, this group of people, and water is at a premium. There's not a place to wash, and teacups are as easy to make. They go back into the soil, and then that soil is pounded and regenerated, and more teacups are made. And so these disposable cups are made of rough-hewn pottery, if you will. And I feel so much gratitude for all of these experiences. And in the energy of this card, I can see and I can feel something very Indian and ancient. I can feel older traditions that come through my English heritage, and everything in between. A tarot gratitude practice is not about interpreting cards. It's about allowing a card to reflect an experience. And it is so good for you. And this example today is just coming from the ramblings of my heart space, and I hope that it might be an offering that speaks to you, and you might want to try, if not every day, on a regular basis, because it does. It feels really, really good. So thanks. Thank you for joining me today, and go and enjoy. a slow cup of warm beverage, whatever suits whatever time of day you're watching this, and just think about how you might like to incorporate this into your practice. Have a lovely rest of your day. Namaste.